All right, welcome back, everybody. This is podcast part 2, Eurythmics videos. It's me, Rex Saldana, and Mark Stevens. I'll let him introduce himself right now.
It's me, Mark Stevens. I'm back.
We're both back. Why? Hey. Today we're going to cover discussions on videos from, I think, Be Yourself Tonight. We finished last time with 1984. And up through, hopefully, in this podcast, through either We Two Are One or Peace. I think we can get up to Peace, and then maybe in the next podcast we can talk about the solo stuff. But anyhow, just want to briefly say to all those listening, anybody who wants to join us for future podcasts, we'd love to have fans come on with us and talk and discuss ideas. We've said this before, we're not quite sure, what value this is going to bring to anybody. We just like doing it. It's fun. Mark and I have discovered that we have fun conversations, as I'm sure a lot of fans do with each other. And we just thought we would put it down and since I have the website, put it on there and see what happens. So any thoughts on that, Mark?
Well, that is sort of the idea that, it's a conversation. Indeed, that's what a podcast is, but it's a conversation about Eurythmics, specifically, and Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart. And so we do look forward to changing up and talking to different fans and hopefully, people involved in the world of Eurythmics over the years and bringing those people in. But we thought the first, podcast or two should simply be about the videos because your website, Rex, is Eurythmics Video Visionary. So we needed to sort of start it out that way. And then all this will evolve into different formats and different ways that we're going to do things. So
yeah.
But we got through part of it in number 1, so we're at number 2 now. No, podcast 2.
We're newbies to podcasts, so
maybe obvious to people.
Yeah. Anybody out there who's really into podcasts, you may be rolling your eyes and going, "What are these guys doing? But hey, we're just having fun, and there you go. So we're going to try to keep this to like 30? What do we say, 35?
That's a goal, Rex. That's the goal.
All right, 35 minutes for this. All right, Be Yourself Tonight. First video, Would I Lie to You? Mark, what do you want to say about that?
Well, it was a great video in the sense that it was the first time I think the public saw Annie Lennox in a different way. That is, the suits were gone, that sort of thing. And I think they already had been through Touch, but she still had that sort of image. But here we have her on stage, in this dress, and she's looking really very sexy. It's a very, sexy video. I think it's a different look for her. She's now blonde. She made a joke about this years ago that she was considered a gender bender, and all of a sudden she got some peroxide out and dyed her hair, and suddenly she wasn't a gender bender anymore. And I think that's the video that probably had the opportunity to change that image quite a bit. So, It is sort of a performance video.
A conceptualized performance video.
Yes, indeed. And it did get nominated for a Grammy. Would I Lie to You? Not the video, but Would I Lie to You for Best Rock Performance. They did not win, but I thought that was cool. And Stephen Bauer was in the movie. He was a movie star, had been in, what was it, Scarface?
Scarface. Thief of Hearts was another one he was in. People remember.
Yeah. So, I think a great video, a new look for the public. Again, Annie and Dave are simply playing characters in a video. A lot of people thought, well, these are her image. They were never her image. She was simply playing a character, and she was, again, although she is on stage, sort of like Right by Your Side. She is on stage, so you have some sort of a singer image kind of thing there.
Right. Yeah, it's a great performance video. It's perfectly suited to the song. It's exactly kind of what you would expect. You hear the song, and what other kind of video could you really do for that? I suppose they could have come up with some crazy conceptual thing that had nothing to do with the performance of it. And they probably would have done that very well, but this worked. And like you said, it brought a whole new image to the public, and people were like, "Oh wow, so she's warm-blooded. Okay, great."
Indeed, yeah.
Although, if you really listened to the music, you knew that it was plenty warm-blooded.
Absolutely. And the video was directed by Mary Lambert, who went on and to do a lot of she did a lot of videos, but she did a lot of the famous Madonna videos
Right. Yeah.
that came later. So, in essence, a famous director. So, one of the famous video directors of the time, really. And
lastly, I want to point out that it's interesting that you mentioned, that's sort of at the end of the suit and androgynous look, and the start of a different one, and then in the audience you see the person who's serving the drinks with a short cropped orange haircut. Implication to me almost being like, okay, now the public has embraced it. I'm moving on to something else.
Oh, that's a good point. I like that. That's a good observation. Actually, that's pretty cool.
All right. There Must Be an Angel. There Must Be an Angel is, well, they said it was supposed to be darker in tone than the finished product. It seems sort of campy and fun, but I think there are a lot of dark undertones in it. It is based on the opening of the film The Devils, a 1971 film, I believe, by Ken Russell, a famous British film director who did lots of movies. I think Tommy was one of them. I think I could be wrong about that, but yeah, it's clearly influenced by the opening scene of that movie. If anybody wants to check out the opening scene of The Devils, you'll know what I mean. Kind of a left turn in the video from Would I Lie to You, which was like a kind of a normal presentation.
And so was the song. I mean, could there be any more juxtaposition on the album and those two videos? Those two songs again, directly one, and then followed by, Dave himself has said that There Must Be an Angel is the weirdest pop song.
Yeah. And it is a very unusual song. That's what I thought when I first heard it. I thought it's this happy, uplifting song, but it's very weird. It's so odd and unusual. But that's what made it great. And huge hit, of course, #1 in Britain. I think they're only #1 over there, right?
Right.
Here, I think it was 23 or something like that. Somewhere in
Would I Lie to You was a huge hit here. Top 5 hit. Heard it on the radio all the time, and that kind of thing. But There Must Be an Angel, not quite so much. I think the video supposedly cost £100,000. I read in an article once, £100,000.
So they talked at the time about a making of video they were going to release. Apparently there's footage out there of them making the video that they were going to use for a making of documentary that they were going to sell. That never came to be. So hopefully in the future, when some sort of Eurythmics archive comes out, that will be in there.
Oh man, that would be great. That so many lost things over time.
Dave just posted the other day that HD video of some festival performance of Eurythmics from back in the day, and he made a comment like, hopefully we can get to these kind of things in the future. So it kind of sounds like maybe they're thinking along those lines, so that's good.
Well, as people say, time's a wasting. So
I know none of us are getting any younger.
No, we're not. Whatever. So, but anyway, the album had 2 more videos. Sisters are doing it for themselves, of course, with Aretha Franklin. I never read too much about that. I don't know when they went back and filmed that.
I believe it was filmed the same. Was it filmed the same day? No. That's wrong. I believe they were together when it was filmed. Aretha and
I think for definitely
and Annie and Dave, or maybe just Annie. And it probably was fairly simple to film. They just stood on that stage, and I'm not even sure anything was projected behind them. That might have been put in later. And it probably was. Well, I was going to say, it couldn't have been done the same time they recorded the song, because the song would have had to have been finished up and produced, and Dave would have had to work his magic on it before it was actually put onto the album or whatever. And so they must have come back at some point to Detroit to
right.
This is what other fans would be good to have, chiming in who know these things or might be able to offer some info on that.
Yeah, it'd be great to have somebody who was in Detroit who knew about it, obviously,
or just heard what's going on. Yeah, but it's not the most remarkable video in the world. It's nice to see the two of them together. It's nice to see the historic images of women through the years, oppressed, not oppressed, free, not free. The video makes its point, I think. I just don't think, it's like
No, it's not.
anything that was wildly different from anything you might have seen at the time. And that was probably what they needed for it. Surprisingly, it wasn't a bigger hit here. I think it only went to 18. So
No, I think, but the thing is about that song is that it has lived beyond its time period by far.
it is the feminist anthem now, pretty much, right?
It is, yes, and they're both known for it. I don't think Aretha necessarily embraced it as one of her pieces as much, but I mean, it has a huge life of its own, and so it did what it. I don't think Aretha was ever going to be in some avant-garde video with Steve and Annie, so I think it served its well. But
it served its purpose, and yeah.
But the most avant-garde video probably is "It's All Right."
From that album, yeah.
And
and as we found out, it was really one of the first animated video before a-ha's "Take on Me." It's just that a-ha's "Take on Me" was released first,
yes,
and so it got out into the public first. But apparently, yes, "It's All Right, Baby's Coming Back" was the first. That's cold comfort to anybody these days. a-ha has the crown on that, so, and they always will. So, and that's a great video, anyways, a-ha, and deservedly so. But "It's All Right, Baby's Coming Back." Yeah, apparently she was laying flat on a table on her back the whole time it was filmed. So when you see her singing in the video, she's actually laying flat, but you're not aware of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all the groundbreaking animation inserted in there, and Dave moving around, and it was just so, and the blue colors and all the colors, and it was just fun to look at. It was eye candy, and and she's doing a good Dusty Springfield there. I think the song is definitely an homage to Dusty Springfield, and it's funny. The first time I heard Dusty Springfield as a teenager was after I discovered Eurythmics, and yes, we were that young then.
Yes,
and my first thought was, wow, she sounds like Annie Lennox. It's like, yeah, well, I guess she was the original, that kind of husky white female soul voice, great video.
It's a pity they never did a duet. It's a pity they never did.
Right. I mean, she did with Pet Shop Boys, huh? Can you imagine? Yeah.
She did. So yeah, but Be Yourself Tonight, great videos, and we moved into
that was our biggest album in the U.S., biggest selling album in the U.S., and goes to show, as long as you have one huge smash, you can have like 3 other singles that get fairly good attention, and the album will just sell.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to have like a top 10 hit from each single off the album.
Yeah.
Videos, of course, the videos help. So let's move to Revenge, and I think we should lump The Miracle of Love and When Tomorrow Comes as kind of one thing and talk about that quickly, because they're both basically just tour videos. I'm not trying to downplay the artisticness of them by saying they're just tour videos. I know Dave shot Miracle of Love himself. That's all cinema verite style, and When Tomorrow Comes was, I believe, filmed the same day as Thorn in My Side.
Really? The same day? Really?
Same day. So that was, I always assumed Thorn in My Side was filmed in LA because of the Hells Angels, but apparently no, those were French Hells Angels. These videos were filmed in Paris. So
I don't even know what to say to that. French Hells Angels.
Well, apparently Jimmy Z partied with these Hells Angels after the video shoot, so he knows all about it.
Well, now we have to get Jimmy Z on a podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him if he'd like to talk to it.
When Tomorrow Comes, it's not a great video. It's probably the first video from Eurythmics that kind of cold stop. Well, this isn't the best thing they've ever done, sort of in a warehouse. I think very quickly, I think it was, in essence, a promotional video for the tour itself.
Exactly.
It showcased what they were going to look like. It showcased the sound. And I would say maybe that the record company issuing that as the first single in England may have thought that it was more of a romantic kind of song, and going back to There Must Be an Angel, that was number one. So I think there may have been some philosophy for that, but
Yeah.
as the video, it's not anything to write home about.
Probably a combination of the fact that, yeah, they wanted to go with a romantic thing like There Must Be an Angel, and they wanted to promote, look, there's this tour happening,
Yeah.
and here's how they look.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So which do you talk about first, Missionary Man or Thorn in My Side? Because Missionary Man was the lead single in the U.S., a hit single in the U.S., won a Grammy for Best Rock Performance.
Yeah, I remember my local radio station, the DJs going wild when they first played Missionary Man. They were like, wow, what a song. I remember them just commenting what a song this was. And while it didn't go top 10 or anything like that, I think it was like top 20.
16, I think.
16, yeah.
14 or 16.
But got so much crossover airplay, like on, AOR radio and album radio and hard rock radio, that it really, would I lie to you, showcased a new side of them. This Missionary Man exposed them to a wider audience, a harder rock audience.
And the video itself was Willie Smacks. Is that how you say it?
Willie Smacks,
the director, and he had done It's All Right. So he kind of moved in, but it really is a great experimental video in the sense of all the things they were doing and the buildup of the Dave creating this, creating Annie in the lab. Come on,
Dave is God. Is God, basically.
Dave is God. Yes.
And then sentences her to hell. He turns the switch and the bolts go in her head.
Yeah. It's still a great video, and I'm so pleased it's been. What is it in now? 4D? Is that what they call it or whatever? But 4K, man,
no, it looks. I mean, it's some of these. Yeah, like it looks so good in 4K. You can see so much detail, like in the scene where she comes walking down the that checkered floor hallway. I think in the high definition version, you actually notice dirt on the floor, which you never would have noticed before in the regular version because the resolution was much, much lower. I find, just as a quick aside, I find that very interesting when you watch older movies nowadays that are restored in high definition. You see things that you're not supposed to see. Like they might be holding something. The other day I was watching something and they were reading a headline and it didn't even say the same thing on the headline that you saw was not even the headline they were reading. But you would never have even seen the headline in that clarity to begin with, so you never would have known. So or somebody will be reading a newspaper and they'll have like things tacked on to make like fake headlines, which you'd never have noticed in the regular versions. But anyhow, yeah. So Missionary Man looks great in 4K. I wish they would just do all of them in HD and 4K and put them out for sale on a Blu-ray.
Oh, that would be just amazing. That would be great.
But their greatest hits home video that was released is still in print and still sells.
Yep.
So there you go. It's out there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Thorn in My Side. I think you may like the video more than I do. I've never really loved the video.
To me, it's like a cartoon come to life.
It's such a beautiful video in the sense that blue, that shocking, and she fantastic.
Her yellow hair, her.
But I just never quite understood what's necessarily happening, and that can be in a lot of videos. But
for many years, I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" But recently, I read something or I started thinking about it, and it occurred to me. Maybe I've been drinking some wine and I watched the video or something, and suddenly a revelation came to me. No, but I think it was the song is about being used and then coming to that realization and not letting, and that's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on with these women in the audience. They sort of are broken women. Dave, and they're there to cheer Annie on because they've been through the same thing. Dave then anoints them. You see them. He puts this little, looks like a gold coin on their foreheads or something, and suddenly they fall back as if baptized or transformed, like at a revival or something, and at a Southern Baptist revival. So it's almost like they've been reborn. Like, okay, she says it in the spoken part, and now I know, and that's I think that's what's going on there. They're supposed to have been made to now be aware.
All right.
I could be completely wrong about that. That's just.
I think that sounds really good. I think that's really good.
Well, we'll see.
But it is a fantastic video to look at. I do agree. I mean, I think it's just
the movements are perfectly timed, and I like when she shakes her head back and forth to the drum beat, and it's just so well. It's very well shot.
And the band again, the Revenge Band is really well showcased there. Jonice, of course, and that kind of thing. But great, an interesting time for videos. Clearly, Missionary Man is the key video from that era. Right. It's worth it. It's great, and it takes us to Savage, which was we can't talk enough about Savage. We don't have enough time to talk about
Savage, the video album, which is, of course, a video for every song on the album. We'll discuss that in a separate podcast. Okay, great. That means we have 15 minutes. Okay, we can do this. We can actually do this.
I'm so flex the timer here. We're trying to keep up. But anyways, Savage, here we go.
Yeah, because I know everybody listening really wants to hang out for like an hour and a half listening to these two guys talk. We'll talk about the 4 singles from Savage. Beethoven, I think, is one of their finest videos, obviously. Very mature, very not like what teenagers would be thinking about, that's for sure. The kind of people that watch MTV. Those are adult themes in that video. Probably not really understood, I think, by a lot of teenagers. Who are these weird characters? Why is there a little girl there? Why is there this guy in drag? Why is she there cleaning? Well, they're all her. That's all her personalities. And
it is the guy, the person, the alter ego there in the background. I mean, that is so damn cool. I mean, just the element.
It's also a little creepy.
Yeah, but the element, I mean, all of that, so much is in that video. The elements of all that, the egos, the alter egos, all that kind of thing. It's just.
My favorite thing is the subtle in the background. There's a bag that says it's better in the Bahamas, which is a very famous slogan for the Bahamas. But it's just tucked away in the background very nicely. And if you don't know that expression or that logo, you might not realize it. But it's just there, and it's kind of like just a little comment. Make of it what you will. But
we talked in the last podcast, about Here Comes the Rain Again, and what she's wearing, and that at the time she was so different, that she would put herself out there. But, she plays this part of the characters in the Beethoven is the dowdy housewife. There weren't a lot of people at the time making videos that would show their star in that kind of scene.
Or
today. Go ahead.
Sorry, you were cutting out a little bit. That's okay. In a role. Here is this famous, 80s rock and roll star, and she's basically your mom in the video. And I think a lot of people were like, "What the heck is going on here?" I know friends of mine at the time were really thrown by it. They were like, What's going on here? What happened to these? What happened? I heard things like, what happened to Eurythmics? What's going on with them? What's going on here? It's like, well, I thought, wow, this is great. I love it.
Well, what you said, I will say, my mother loved that video, cracked her up. Always, she just laughed so much about the Beethoven video and then the rest of the videos. And my mother was not one. She did not know what to think about Missionary Man and these kind of things. This was like, I don't know what you're doing, but she let me do it. But Beethoven, she really got into.
Oh, that's funny. Maybe something in there spoke to her.
Yeah, maybe there's something I need to know about Mom. What was going to happen?
Or about Mom and Dad? Yeah.
Yeah. So we had the trio of videos. Then the character went on to the I Need a Man performance, which is.
I think there's a little bit of Diary of a Mad Housewife there. But yeah, it's all her egos rebelling, and finally, and it's all like she says in the song, "You're just overblown," and "I Need a Man." The whole thing is overblown. No one is gonna do that. No one is gonna like break up or have an argument with somebody and then just turn into this big tart or this and go off to a bar. but people will think that, or they will eventually start to do things like that, but not in such a flamboyant way. So it's obviously so exaggerated, but it's the way I think most people feel when they've been scorned or jilted, or they're unhappy. They're like, well, you know what? I'm just going to go out and I'll get something else. I don't need you. And screw this. I'm going to do what I want to do. And
Interesting concept. We should mention too that I Need a Man and Beethoven had two different videos, official videos that we know of. One to the Macho Mix, the remix, but I Need a Man supposedly had four different videos. I have only seen three. The standard video that we see on the main standard, a mix video to the Macho Mix. Did I say that right on the Beethoven? I may have got that wrong. Did I say that a minute ago? Beethoven had two different videos, one to the full and then one to an edit that have different scenes. Mm-hmm. And then I Need a Man had the Macho Mix, the extended mix, the standard mix, and then a single camera, black and white. And it's so good because all the others, multiple cameras, in and out, and then you've got this.
I saw the black and white single camera one on MTV one day back in the late 80s. It was a complete shock. I didn't even know that it existed. It just came on and it was like, what the heck? And I'm like, well, okay, they clearly have alternate versions of this. What were you saying about the I was going to point out that some of the restored videos, the 4K videos, like Don't Ask Me Why, and also I Need a Man, have slightly different scenes. There are slightly different scenes. I mean, I know these videos like the back of my hand, and when I watched the 4K ones, it was like, wait a minute, that's new. That's not. I never noticed that before. So there's.
Yep. Yeah, and I can't quite figure out how that happens, because there has to be a master file or recording or however that's done. So I don't get these slightly different versions. No idea.
I wonder if like the restored one we're seeing is like the edit before the final edit or something, and or maybe they lost the master of the final, but they had the one right before. I don't know, but it would be nice if Dave would talk about that at some point. But yeah, and it's interesting and to see those things like, wow, that wasn't in the original.
Mm-hmm. But Savage also had Shame. Well, we didn't talk about Chill in My Heart. Such a great video, and the characters return, they're in that pivotal scene. And that was shot in, part of that was shot in California, and I don't know where the desert scene is.
They were at the Ralph's supermarket.
Ralph's supermarket.
Ralph's is a chain, and our late dear departed friend Maureen knew exactly which Ralph's it was. Somewhere in, I don't remember where it was, but Pasadena or something. I don't know. But can you imagine being a shopper there that day?
I think it was in Sherman Oaks, and a fan told us once that the manager told him later it was really annoying because they had to be in there for so long, and but the only very 80s things I think that you get out of Eurythmics videos is that background scene in Rouse where she's in the parking lot and you've got the women in the background and they've got their huge 80s hair and
the 80s hair. Yeah,
you can date Eurythmics a lot because they're not really dated in that.
No, and even Annie's look in that video as the housewife at the time didn't look like it was current, but it didn't look like it was past. It was kind of, you see, that flowered blouse she has on. You see women wearing that all the time to this day. It's a very common pattern. So it was probably selected for that reason. But yeah, that's a groundbreaking video as well. And they end up in the desert at the end. The faceless man she's hugging, as we find out, is her husband, Uri, now her ex-husband. But at the time it was her either fiance or husband. And I believe that was filmed out in the desert outside LA, I'm sure. I mean, it was probably just a little day trip they took into the desert. I don't know exactly where, but somebody had to carve that giant "You Have Placed a Chill in My Heart" into the sand with and the heart and all that.
They did it well. They did it well.
Wouldn't that be
But
nice if it was? Wouldn't it be nice if it was permanent? You can go visit that.
uh, yes, we'll look into that to see if it has. If it's still, but, I Need a Man was nominated for best group video for the MTV
Uh-huh.
Awards,
Yeah.
and Chillin' in My Heart was nominated for best director. Neither one won, but still nominations.
I was very happy to see that they were nominated because even though they didn't have the commercial impact that MTV would have needed for them to give the award. It was nice they were acknowledging the artisticness of it and the fact that this band had been known for providing them with so many high quality videos over the years.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Shane?
Yeah, that's fairly straightforward. I mean, the animation is very interesting and I think kind of groundbreaking and. They appear naked as if in their natural state, and it's a lament about consumerism and how the music industry used to be less commercialized, or I think well, of course, it's always been commercialized, but the music industry. They're talking about the music industry changing back then. Look how much it's changed since then, you
Mhm.
know, and
It's a
pining.
very it's a very beautiful song. I mean, those are some really great lyrics.
Yeah,
Uh,
one of their finest singles. Not terribly commercial.
mhm. And for an album that is very much from a female perspective, I think, Shame, I think, was a very much a Dave and Annie lyrical kind of composition. I don't know if he helped with the lyrics or not. I just mean, it seems to me very much the kind of thing that Dave will do later on in his solo career. It seems very Dave-esque to me. If that is that a word? But
Yeah, the theme. Yeah, the theme.
and they're both in that video. Of course, he's in some of the videos on the video album in his usual way. In background, he's driving the car, I think, in Heaven. But he's a starring role, of course, and that's a beautiful artistic video too. Who did that?
You're right that it echoes a lot of some of Dave's themes in his solo work. It also echoes like money can't buy it. That's a similar
Mhm.
theme, about
Mhm.
consumerism
Yes. Yeah.
and does stuff make you happy?
Yeah. Well, Rex, we're at 33 minutes or thereabouts, so I think we're
So
going to have three.
we will still have to get through We Two Are One, which is another 5 videos actually. Then Peace, which is another three, right? If you count Peace is just a word.
Yeah. And then
Wait, was 17 again? I Saved the World Today, and
Peace is just
Peace is just a word. Oh, I was thinking of the singles. I was released as a single. There's a video of them performing it live, but there really isn't a video.
yeah.
We
Well, and
could
then
stop for now, and we'll stop for now, and we'll pick up the other ones later. Maybe
this is
we can finish off with We Two Are One in Peace, and then go to Diva and Medusa.
yeah. Well, these are the things that we're learning along, and here, if anyone has stayed with us to this moment, we're still working through again, these are conversations that Rex and I have, and fans everywhere have, and we've had with other fans over the years
Yeah.
that can go on. And we realize that a podcast is not supposed to go on for hours and hours.
No.
So we'll have to divide these things up.
What I hope is that when people listen to this, when fans listen to this, they go, "Oh," and they want to interject something of, that's what we want. We want you. That's what we want you to join us for, so that we can have more than just our two points of view and our two, brains full of Eurythmics knowledge from the past 40 years. Other people have the same stuff, and they maybe remember things we don't or know things we don't. So, yeah.
Well, that's definitely a thing because I know that I cannot remember nearly the things I could when I was 16 years old and watching these videos for the first time. Just a little bit different at 53 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be able to tell you what year every song came out, I mean, I can do that with Eurythmics pretty much, but other artists, I'd hear it and I go, "Oh, that's 1997." Now it's not so hard. It's not so easy anymore. Like if I hear a song from within the last 10 years, it's like, I'm not sure what year was that? 2011?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we lived and breathed this, I think, when we were back in the day. We lived and breathed it, and I'm glad I did, because it's been music has been a great. My life has been immensely improved. I do absolutely believe that, because of Eurythmics and because of people like you, as a friend and a fellow fan. Over the years, we met in 1989, and somehow here we still are. So that's what we want to bring out of this with the podcast is, discussions about things that have meant so much to us over the years and
Right.
still mean a lot to us, and friendships and just conversations. We just have to get the time a little bit. We think, hey, we can talk about all this in 30 minutes, and we never do.
Yeah, and I know there are ways we can just talk and talk and talk and then take it and edit it down into certain different things, but I'm not that savvy with podcasts. So, hey, any fans out there who might want to help out with that, hey, we're happy to hear from you.
Ooh, that's
So,
good.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop this video for now. I mean, stop this podcast for now, and we'll you guys will all hear from us next time. I know you're all just can't wait.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks. See you later, Rex.